explain myself.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little more on the personal side of my life. It's going to be about how I lost my grandfather. I haven't spoken on this situation in a really long time with anybody except for like my family and stuff, so this is like the first time I'm ever coming out like in public speaking upon the situation. I have posted like my grandfather like on social media, so like anybody who has me on social media knows that I've posted him before, and I've posted like, you know, when he passed away and stuff like that. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of give you guys a story time because I feel like it'd be interesting. And this is not supposed to be like a negative video, a sad video. This is supposed to be like, I'm just simply gonna tell you guys what happened and tell you guys like the impact that he had on my life and stuff like that. So I don't think this is supposed to be a bad video. So yeah, before we get into the video though, please like, subscribe, and comment down below any video ideas. It would really help because it's hard sometimes coming up with video ideas, but I have a few in mind for this week, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, so we're just gonna get straight into the story time, and I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, so first things first, my grandfather passed away 2 years ago. This was November 30th of 2016. I even have it tattooed right here. I'll insert a picture in the end if you guys are interested in seeing what my tattoo looks like. And it has a little quote, and it says, "I was his angel, now he's mine." And then it has like the date when he passed away in Roman numerals. So I really love that tattoo. It's my first tattoo. And yeah, so anyways, I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit so you guys kind of like know how it was like growing up with him, and just, you know, how like what an impact he had on my life and stuff like that. So ever since I was born, I'm talking about since I was born till like 4 years old, my mom and I lived under the same roof as my grandparents. My mom and my father weren't together anymore. My father, he lives in DR, my biological father. And so we lived with my grandparents. And when I tell you, my grandfather was so against my mom having a child, because my mom had me when she was young. She was 19 years old when she had me. And during that time, you know how like parents are, especially Hispanic parents, they don't buy that. They hate it. They're like, you know, if you have a child at a young age, like, you're out of my house type stuff. So that's how it was. And my grandfather didn't speak to my mom for a while she was pregnant. But when I was born, he actually was like so in love with me. Literally growing up with him was like the best experience ever. So when we lived under the same roof, it was my grandmother, my grandfather, my mom, myself, and my aunts and my uncles. I had a great time, to be honest. I loved it. And I used to sleep with my grandfather. We used to stay up late watching scary movies all the time up until this day. He's the reason why I love scary movies. Okay, well, I don't like them that much anymore, but he's the reason why I got into scary movies, and he's the reason why I got into a lot of things. He's the reason why I got into singing, wanting to be a communications major in college. He's the reason for all of that. He was very artistic. He used to, in Dominican Republic, before he came to the United States, I remember he used to tell me all these stories, and my family still talks about it up until this day. When he lived in DR, he was he used to work for a radio station, and he was very known over there. He used to throw festivals and everything, so he was very well known, and he used to love entertainment and stuff like that. And we actually have family members in DR who have put out music over there and stuff like that. So this, what I'm doing right now, I got it from him. Anyways, so like I was saying, we were up and down always, everywhere. And then when I would move, he would still make the effort to come see me on the bus. He would take the train to come see me sometimes. And then when I moved here, because I've moved a few times, I've lived in the Bronx, Washington Heights, I've lived in Queens, and now I live in Westchester. So when I moved to Westchester, I was a little sad because it was going to be a little bit out of my comfort zone, and I thought I was not going to be able to see my grandfather a lot, or my grandmother. You know, I was such a grandparents girl. But believe it or not, I would always see him regularly. There was even times where he would come over and he would stay here for a few days, and he was actually living with us at some points. And yeah, so basically the moral of this is that he always made effort. He used to call me at the same exact time every single day to just talk and tell me how his day was going. And if I noticed that he didn't call me, I would call him. I spent a whole hour with my grandfather on the phone. Like, we were like literally best friends. And as you guys can see, we had a tight bond, and that's exactly why I got him tatted on my rib cage right here. So from what I remember when I was younger, and just like growing up around my grandfather and stuff, I know that he had diabetes. I don't know when he was diagnosed with diabetes, but I feel like growing up he's always had diabetes for some reason. I don't know, that's all just I remember, like him having diabetes for a really long time. But he was always on top of it, and you know, there would be some times where he would slack on, you know, taking his like insulin shots and stuff like that. But other than that, like the diabetes thing, it wasn't anything that I was worried about or anybody else in the family was worried about. So a few years went on, and like he started developing more complications and stuff like that. I don't necessarily know everything that he was diagnosed with, but I do know that at one point one of his kidneys began to fail, so he needed a kidney transplant. And during that time we were a little scared because he was going through a lot. He was going through a lot of stuff, and it sucks seeing, you know, me being such a grandfather's girl, and you know, seeing what like a strong man he always was. Even when he was sick, like he was still out, he would still hustle, he would still make his money. He hated staying home. So seeing him in a position where he's in and out of the hospital for whatever reason, it kind of would hurt me, because I'm like, you know, like this is the strongest person that I know. Like this is the person that I look up to, you know, somebody I respect so much, and I always see them with a smile on their face, always see them, you know, working really hard, just having a good time, to then seeing them like in and out of the hospital. It kind of sucks, but during those times our family was always there for him. If I get into too many specific details, this will be a really long story, so just know that he was in and out of the hospital at one point for complications. I'm not really sure what it was. I was young, I don't remember, and I just remember the kidney failure during that time. So pretty much he passed away. Okay, this is crazy. There was about 2 times that we lost him at the hospital, but the doctors were able to revive him. And during that time he was very sick. He really needed a kidney transplant ASAP. He was put on the list, and there was 2 times where I remember he was at the hospital and the doctors told us that we lost him, but then they were able to revive him like a minute later. And if that's not God, I don't know what is. They really did all they could, and they were able to save him twice. And I had so much respect for him, because I'm like, wow, like this man is so strong, and like he goes through everything. And I remember him telling me one time, well, no, I actually wasn't there when that happened, but my mom told me that when he opened his eyes after that happened, and like he passed away, whatever, and they were able to revive him, I remember my mom telling me that the first person he asked for when he opened his eyes was me. He asked where I was, and he asked if I could come, and my mom told me that, and my heart really melted. Like I was like, damn, like I really love this man. Like he has played such a huge father figure in my life, and it's crazy how, you know, I don't know. Anyways, let me just continue before I get off track. So I remember him having to take dialysis, and basically what that is just correct me if I'm wrong, I don't really remember, but dialysis is when you're connected to this machine and it's drawing your blood, but it's cleaning the blood out for you. So he had to do that, and he didn't really like it because it made him feel weak. It made him feel very non-motivated. And during the time he was living with us, because my mom was paying for his dialysis, and it was right by our house, so my mom was like, you know what, just move in with us. So he was living with us, and the thing is that my grandfather's a very independent man. He likes to live alone. He liked to just do things on his own. So it was a little bit of a change for him, and then having to go to the dialysis, like he just, you know, it really took a lot in him, and the whole dialysis thing was really draining him. But anyways, eventually he stopped doing it, found a kidney donor, and we were all really happy. And so now, to fast forward a little bit, because there's a lot of things that happened in between, just know he was always in and out of the hospital still. And he came to the conclusion one day, I was 17 years old. He came to the conclusion one day that he wanted to leave to Dominican Republic. My grandfather is, he was undocumented, so if he went to Dominican Republic, there was no way of him to have come back, you know, like there was no way, like unless he got his papers, but that would have been a whole, you know, a whole thing. So I was a little sad that he was deciding on doing this, because, you know, this is, you know, my grandfather's always only been a car ride away, a bus ride away, a train ride away, like to now being a plane ride away. Like I was really upset, but he really kept talking about it. He said that if he wants to die anywhere, he wants to die in Dominican Republic, in his home country, you know, surrounded by, you know, his childhood friends and everybody that he knows out there. So we supported it. We were like, all right. And I remember this clearly. It was New Year's Day. The ball had already dropped, and my parents were purchasing the ticket for him. Before they purchased it, they asked him, are you sure you want to go? Like, are you sure you want to leave to Dominican Republic? And he was like, yeah, I'm positive. Like, that's what I want to do. Like, there's no, like, there was no turning back. And so my parents were like, you know, once we purchase this ticket, that's it. Like, your ticket is booked and you're going to have to go, you know. And he was like, yeah, it's fine. Like, this is what I want to do. So my parents were like, all right, come here and you click the button to finalize this. So he went to the computer, purchased the ticket himself, and that was that. His ticket was bought. And then eventually the day came where he had to leave. He left, he went to DR. He was so happy over there. When I tell you, from the moment he got over there, it was sending me pictures. There was like a bunch of women waiting for him at the airport, like friends and stuff like that. And he sent me a picture. It was him surrounded by a bunch of women. And he's always been a ladies' man. So that happened, and he was in DR. I was a little upset. I was a little sad about the whole thing, but I was happy for him, you know. And we would always talk through Facebook, WhatsApp, and he'd call me sometimes and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't how it was when he lived here, but it was definitely, we still communicated. And yeah, he would always comment on my Facebook pictures. I remember prom day. He would comment, he's like, who's that? Like, who's that? Because he didn't know about the boyfriend that I have right now. We've been together for 3 years. We had just started talking when he left to DR, so I was never able to really talk to him about it. Then that summer when he left, he left January. We went to Dominican Republic that July and of 2017, and I saw him, and I did not know that that would be the last time that I would ever see my grandfather. We went, I spent a month there, and I'm grateful that I spent a month there and not like 2 weeks or something, because I was able to spend more time with him. And so I went, spent time with him, had a great time, went to go see him and everything was good. Everything was great. Like, he really enjoyed it out there. Like, that was his happy place, you know. And I was so happy to see him that way. Anyways, I come back, time goes on, and it's the start of college for me. And then during that time, when I had started college, September was okay for me. Then I was going through a lot of stuff personally with myself. I felt very not motivated. There was just a lot going on with myself, and I was like very depressed during that time, and it was just not a good time for me. Then it hits November. I was still feeling the same way. Like, I would get home from school, I just go straight to my room. Like, I was going through a little bit of a difficult time. Like, I don't know what was going on with me, but I felt very like alone, even though I wasn't alone, but that's just how I was feeling. I felt kind of depressed during that time. So anyways, November comes, and you know, I was speaking to my grandfather on the phone during that time. And actually from like October to November, those whole 2 months, well, mid-November, my grandfather was he was very sick, and that's another thing that was making me really sad, because, you know, I couldn't go see him, and he was very sick. There was family members from Dominican Republic that would call us and tell us, listen, like, we just saw your father. To my mom, they would say that. They'd be like, oh yeah, we just saw your father, you know, sitting outside on, you know, like on the concrete, like on the floor, just with his head down. He looks really upset. You guys should really give him a call, see what's up with him. And he shut himself down. He didn't want to speak to anybody. This was around October, like I said, the beginning of October to like mid-November, not the ending of November. Because the ending of November is when he passed away. So, you know, for those 2 months, he was very sick, and my mom had to fly out there at one point and go see him. And when she did that, he was so happy to see her. Over there, he wasn't speaking to anybody. He shut down. He shut everybody out. Something was wrong with him, and you know, we just figured, you know, it's just one of his complications again, you know, like it's happening again, and now we just got to keep our eye on him, you know. So my mom went to go see him. He was very, very excited to see her. Had the biggest smile on his face. He would call me and ask me when I was going, and I used to be so sad talking to him on the phone because he didn't sound the same. He sounded like he had no energy in him. Like it was a drag for him to speak, you know, like it took a lot of effort in him to, like, you know, say things and stuff like that. So his voice was very low. And, you know, my grandfather has a very strong, deep voice. At that point, he wasn't speaking like that anymore. Anyways, I remember my mom had told she told a lady to go stay with him. She would pay her, she would send her money so that he has somebody that's watching him all the time. And the person was a very trusted person. And then she also had family members stop by and stuff and like give him food and stuff like that, so that when she came back, you know, all these people would be taking care of my grandfather. Anyways, then now we're gonna fast forward a few weeks later. I remember this was the last phone call I had with my grandfather, and basically it was him asking me when I was gonna go. Like his voice at this point was like almost whispering. Like that's how low and that's how down he sounded. And my last phone call with him was him asking me when I was gonna go see him, and it's kind of sad, you know, when I think about it. But yeah, that was the last time I spoke to him, and I told him, oh, I'll go see you soon. I just have to finish the semester of college, you know, I'm almost done, so hopefully soon, you know. And I knew I wasn't gonna be able to go anytime soon, you know. My mom had just started her own office, and I was, you know, I was in school. I had to finish my semester, you know, so I couldn't just go, and I had already missed a few days and stuff, so I didn't want to miss more days. But I didn't think that was the last time I was going to speak to my grandfather. It happened that it was the last time. So I hung up the phone that day. Then 2 days later, I'm home from school again, feeling depressed and just laying on my bed. We got a phone call on the house phone, and it was the news that he had passed away. And that was very difficult for my family. This was my mom's everything. This was the family's everything. Like he was really such a significant part of our family. So this broke everyone's heart. And, you know, my mom had to go out there, plan the funeral for him and everything. It was a really sad time. So I'm gonna tell you guys what made him pass away. So after he passed away, my mom went over there. She was cleaning out his little apartment that he had in Dominican Republic, cleaning out his closet, and she sees like a lot of papers and stuff, envelopes and everything, and she opens one paper. Guys, when I tell you this shocked everybody, it shocked everyone. She was reading the paper, and it was a paper diagnosing him with a cancer. I don't remember what cancer was, but in the paper it said, right, so he was diagnosed with that cancer. In the paper, it also stated that if he were to get, like, there was a surgery for that cancer, and there was a 90% chance that he could be cured from the cancer if he would have gotten that surgery. And he didn't get that surgery. He didn't tell anybody that he was diagnosed with that cancer. And then it all made sense why he wanted to leave. It made sense, like, why he got so sick at a point in Dominican Republic, like the last, you know, 2 months that he was alive, like why he was so sick. He had a cancer that wasn't being treated, and he didn't tell anybody that. I guess he didn't want anybody to worry. I guess he wanted to go to Dominican Republic because he knew that he was going to end up passing away because of this cancer. So he just wanted to die in his home country. And it was crazy. Like, we were all like, wow, like he could have still been alive to this day. He was just tired of going to the hospital. He was tired of dealing with people. He was tired of, you know, he didn't want the surgery. He didn't want the surgery, I guess. And, you know, a part of me was a little angry, but then another part of me is like, you know what, I don't blame him. He's been in and out of the hospital for the past, what, 10 years or so, and he just didn't want to fight anymore. He just wanted to let things be, and I guess he was prepared to pass away. Like, he just wanted to be free, I guess. I guess that's what he wanted. That's why he didn't tell anybody. He didn't want anybody to worry about him too much, and that's why he went to Dominican Republic. So that was the crazy news that we found out, and that's why my grandfather passed away, because of that cancer. So yeah, I hope this story was interesting for you guys, and, you know, I tried not to, you know, get too into my feelings, because, you know, when I think about my grandfather, I get really, really sad. but I just wanted to keep it a good interesting video for you guys, and just pretty much just let you guys in on a, you know, huge part of my life, and that was my grandfather. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to see more story times, definitely comment down below, and like I always tell you guys, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you guys haven't already, go watch my last video. My last video was a Who Knows Me Better with my two sisters. It was a really funny video, as well. That's what I think it was funny. So if you guys would like to go see that, definitely go watch it. I'll leave the video link at the end in my outro. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and close out the video. Love you guys, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Peace.
Murder on the beat. Something for y'all to cut up to, you know.